Located on the southeastern tip of the Korean peninsula lies Busan, the second largest city in South Korea. The country's key port city holds deep historical and contemporary significance. Historically, its strategic coastal location made it a vital trading hub and point of defence. During the Korean War, spanning from 1950 to 1953, Busan was one of the few cities that remained under South Korean control, serving as a crucial refuge and temporary capital, which helped shape its resilient character. Post-war, the city rapidly developed into a global port, facilitating Korea's economic growth. In modern times, Busan is a major financial and industrial centre, home to Korea's largest port and the fifth busiest in the world. Its significance extends beyond commerce to cultural prominence, particularly with the Busan International Film Festival, one of Asia's most important cinematic events. Additionally, the city is a tourist hotspot with Haeundae Beach, the Gamcheon Culture Village, and historical sites like the Byumyeosa Temple. Busan's evolution from a wartime stronghold to a thriving modern metropolis underscores its importance both in Korea's history and its dynamic presence. Jeon Min-geun and Choi Sung-hee, both 35 years of age, married in the city of Busan in November of 2015. Jeon, also referred to in sources as Kim Yoon-suk, was a restaurant owner, and Choi was a renowned theatre actress. The couple resided at an apartment in Gwangan-dong, located in Busan's Suyong district. 6 months into their marriage, all seemed well. On May 27, 2016, Choi taught classes at a local performing arts academy, whilst also preparing for a role in a stage production which was in rehearsals. Choi managed to persevere through these commitments despite suffering from many unpleasant side effects attributed to the early stages of pregnancy. That day, Choi visited a local market once her classes concluded, where she went shopping. She returned to the apartment at approximately 11:30 p.m, taking the elevator to her home on the 15th floor. She was unable to carry all of her shopping with her and had left most of her purchases in the car which sat in the complex's parking lot. CCTV captured Choi in the elevator, holding a bag of ramen noodles and some snacks. At approximately 3:45 a.m, her husband Jeon was seen on CCTV making his way to the apartment and entering the premises. Jeon's father grew incredibly concerned when he had tried contacting his son about delivering health supplements on the 28th of May, however was met with no response. He visited his son's restaurant, where Jeon's business partner told him that he had not been at the restaurant since the 28th of May. A colleague of Choi's stated that Choi said to them that a, quote, previously existing illness had returned and she was going to visit a hospital. Another colleague of Choi had contacted her on the 29th of May, but instead was greeted over the phone by a man, presumed to have been Jeon, who stated that Choi would not be able to work for the foreseeable future. The authorities were informed of Choi and Jeon's sudden disappearance and entered the apartment on the 31st of May, only to be greeted by the couple's dog, who was recovering from surgery and appeared to have not been fed or given water for several days. The Busan police searched the apartment, however there was no trace of either Jeon or Choi. The apartment was in a fairly clean and orderly condition, and it didn't appear to be the case that they had vanished in a hurry. There were some unwashed dishes in the sink, and the items Choi brought with her in the lift lay unopened on the kitchen table. There was also bare soup in a pot. The remaining groceries were found untouched in the car in the parking lot. Investigators inquired about the pair at their respective workplaces, and it was evident that they had not been seen for 4 days. A second search of the apartment followed, where it was found that some personal items were noticeably absent. Choi and Jeon's computers, mobile phones, and passports were reported missing from the residence. With over 70 officers reviewing the tapes, police were perplexed after trawling through hours of CCTV, only to find there was no evidence of the couple leaving the apartment, despite there being 21 cameras placed around the building, including in the lobby. Police concluded that there were very few blind spots that could have allowed the couple to leave undetected by CCTV. It's widely believed that they may have used the emergency exit stairs to the first floor, which are not monitored by cameras. However, a camera is positioned at the entrance to the stairs, with only a small blind spot directly beneath it. This implies that whoever orchestrated the couple's disappearance was highly aware of the camera angles. The lack of any footage also suggests that there was likely no struggle, as it would have been recorded. Their disappearance left both authorities and their loved ones completely baffled. The couple were found to have no financial issues and had around $30,000 worth of savings. Their bank cards, internet, and phone records remained unused since they disappeared. It became clear that on May 30th, the assistant director of Choi's production received a text message from her phone, stating that Choi wouldn't be able to perform due to being hospitalised after an accident, quote, like last time. When the assistant director attempted to respond, they found Choi's phone disconnected. There's speculation that the, quote, accident mentioned was a reference to Choi's history of depression and past overdose attempts. The assistant director grew suspicious as the recent messages from Choi had shifted from her usual casual tone to an unusually formal style. Busan police found no evidence to suggest that Choi had been admitted to hospital, and her medical records had last been updated in March of that year, where Choi had come off her medication due to her pregnancy. Investigators then decided to track Choi and Jeon's mobile phones, which is where the mystery deepened. Jeon's phone was tracked at 9 AM in Busan. However, strangely, Choi's phone was tracked in South Korea's capital city, Seoul, around 390 kilometers or 245 miles away. Neither phone was found to have contacted 119, Korea's emergency number. Both of their phones were permanently switched off on the 2nd of June. Many questioned the nature of the couple's disappearance, whether it was intentional or whether foul play was involved. There was no evidence to support either until co-workers of Jeon spoke to authorities. They believed that he possessed a second mobile phone, which he intentionally kept hidden from his wife. Through that phone, he was said to frequently be in contact with an ex-girlfriend known as Yoon. Despite no longer being in a relationship due to both families clashing, Yoon still allegedly had romantic feelings towards Jeon. However, she ended up marrying another man. After just 1 month of marriage, the couple divorced, with her husband strongly suspecting that Yoon was having an affair, more specifically with Jeon. Time passed and Yoon married for a second time and moved overseas to Norway. According to reports, Yoon suffered a miscarriage and as a result contacted Jeon, blaming him for her suffering. It was further alleged that Yoon sent threatening messages to Jeon and Choi. It was theorised that Yoon could have possibly been involved in Jeon and Choi's disappearance. Choi, being pregnant, could have also provided Yoon with a motive. Following lines of inquiry, it was discovered that on the 5th of May 2016, Yoon and her husband had travelled back to South Korea, allegedly a short time after Choi announced her pregnancy to loved ones. Despite having returned to her home country, Yoon did not tell any of her relatives or friends that she was in South Korea. She allegedly told her mother she was in South Africa. For the duration of her stay, she stayed in various motels, paying exclusively with cash. Busan police believed that Yoon used cash so that she could not be traced. Curiously, she exchanged her ticket back to Norway. She changed her plane ticket for an earlier flight, which left for Norway on the 7th of June, just 5 days after Busan police officially opened an investigation into Choi and Jeon's vanishing. Despite her actions appearing highly suspicious, there is no evidence to suggest that she was involved in the couple's disappearance. In November 2017, after Interpol became involved in the case, Yoon was arrested and was allegedly waiting to be extradited to Korea with a trial pending. Despite Busan police's attempt to extradite Yoon from Norway in order to question her about the case, the request was denied in 2019 after Norwegian authorities ruled in Yoon's favour. Yoon's mother wished for her daughter to cooperate, however Yoon refused. Authorities remain hopeful that one day Yoon will return to South Korea and answer their questions. Newspapers reported that Yoon is currently the only suspect. However, Busan police stated that she is being regarded as a witness and nothing more. Furthermore, Jeon's father was the only person to report the couple as missing. It was reported that at first he was determined and passionate about finding his son and daughter-in-law. However, in recent times, this has allegedly waned. In an interview, he said that he wanted to, quote, protect my son. However, he failed to mention Choi in his statement, which some believe to be suspicious and could suggest that he allegedly knows more than he's letting on. Choi's parents, on the other hand, continue to fight for justice in the hope of finding their beloved daughter. Mystery still remains as to what happened to Choi Sung-hee and Jeon Min-geun. Despite the possibility they are no longer alive, Busan police are treating it as a missing persons investigation, as their bodies have not been found. Lack of known forensic evidence also leaves room for speculation. Was there a bitter situation involving Jeon that led to something more sinister? Did somebody know the CCTV system so intricately that they managed to get out of the apartment building without being seen? Was it actually Jeon who texted Choi's assistant director? Why were Jeon and Choi's mobile phones so far apart, and both how and why did Choi's phone travel to Seoul? Was it a murder plot concocted by Yoon? Or were Choi and Jeon abducted? Were Yoon and Jeon possibly in it together? With so little evidence, the possibilities are almost endless. There are many missing pieces of the puzzle. However, hopefully for the sake of their loved ones, the truth will come to light soon.